What is the Dublin Regulation? If you came to Germany as a refugee and applied for asylum, the German authorities first consider whether they are or another EU country is responsible for your asylum application. The reason why Germany makes such an investigation is because EU member states decided long time ago that refugees have the chance to apply for asylum only in one EU country. The Dublin Regulation applies to all EU countries, and regarding this regulation, member states decide which country is responsible for your asylum application. In most of the cases, the first EU country where you officially entered EU is responsible for your asylum application. During your first days in Germany, German authorities might get your fingerprints. By your fingerprints, German government checks if you were already staying in another EU country or if you applied for asylum there. In addition to fingerprinting, possession of travel tickets or a different currency than euro might be the evidence that you stayed longer in another country. If the German authorities can prove this, then another EU country is responsible for your asylum application, not Germany. As a result, the application wouldn't be processed by German authorities, and German authorities would only apply a transfer procedure. Regarding the Dublin Regulation, the question is whether you have already applied for asylum in another EU country or not before you came to Germany. So if you didn't apply for asylum in another EU country prior to your arrival to Germany, you are allowed to primarily stay here. If you have already applied for asylum in another EU country prior to your arrival to Germany, the first EU country where you applied for asylum is responsible for your stay and your asylum procedure. The problem is that in some EU countries, you are not well informed whether you have an ongoing asylum process or not. It may be that you already have applied for asylum without noticing it. If you have the same problem and not sure if you already applied for asylum or not, your legal guardian, your foreman, might help you figure out whether you have an ongoing asylum process in another EU country or not. If you are under 18 and came to Germany without your parents, you may stay in Germany even if you have already applied for asylum in another EU country. There are also other exceptions to Dublin Regulation. If you were badly treated in another EU country, if you have a disease which cannot be cured in another country but in Germany, you might be allowed to stay in Germany. Another exception could be that you have some relatives in Germany and who could take care of you or would be willing to be your betreuer and foreman. If it turns out that another EU country is responsible for your asylum application, it is still not certain whether you have to leave Germany or not. Your social workers, your betreuer, your legal guardian, your foreman, refugee consultation centers, or lawyers might help you in this situation.